أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما بعد فأصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا عسى ربكم أن يكفر عنكم سيئاتكم ويدخلكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار يوم لا يخزي الله النبي والذين آمنوا معه نورهم يسعى بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم يقولون ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير اللهم اجعلنا منهم آمين يا رب العالمين. Today I wanted to give a context of a tool that the Quran uses to get people to pay attention. Usually when we talk about khutbah, when I do my khutbah al-haja, that's where we kind of tune out, right? Like it's like, okay, what is it going to say? It's usually the same template. I change up the ayat on purpose, the taqwa part, just to pay attention, say people paying attention. I said, wait, that's not the usual. But then that's, just a little bit just to kind of pay attention to. However, most of the time, khutbah that's supposed to be a lifeline between our week to week. Khutbah Jummah, in my opinion, is one of the most important public service we have because our iman is like a battery that keep dying, right? Like when we're making salat, we remember Allah, but then slowly as the salat keep going, we say, okay, I gotta go here, I gotta go take care of my wife, I gotta go to my kids, oh, I forgot my phones, I gotta go back to work. So in salat, even day-to-day salat that we do, by the end of it, we forgot. Allah will keep reminding us in between raka'at by saying, Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Oh yeah, Ameen. Alright, sorry. Like I ask for guidance. But like you're in Raka'ah 1, you make ruku, sujood, and then you go back to Raka'ah 2. You ask Allah again, Alhamdulillah, Alamin, like why what are you asking? You are trying to be guided, you are making salat. But then that's on the outside. But then the inside, the heart moves. I'm not talking about maybe inshallah some of the more khushu people are not like that, but for me, if I'm not leading salat, if I'm not doing, Maghrib or Isha or Fajr out loud with the community, with my family, Dhuhr Asr felt like, wait, what was I doing? Like, what else I have to do? Sometimes I forgot. So I'm not paying as much attention. Unless somehow like, oh, let's go pray together. Then I was like, okay, let me make sure that I'm not too fast. Because my wife tends to complain, like, okay, why is this one so quick? You usually pray like a page. Like, oh yeah, that's my bad. So, anyway, why is that? To me, it's because we attach a ritualistic aspect into our life, and that's the only time when Allah is right in front of us. And even then, we fail slowly. After salat's done, say Assalamualaikum, Assalamualaikum, we moved on. We either go back to work, we either go back to the family, to the struggle of capitalism, the struggles of just life in general, whatever that look like, and then we don't really pay attention as much about Allah, especially if you go in places that you spend most of your time with non-Muslims. Forget about Alhamdulillah, Astaghfirullah, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Maybe that conversation is different. In fact, maybe the way you speak, the way I speak when I am here giving khutbah, might not necessarily the way I speak outside. And I was like, Alhamdulillah, maybe not trying to be, I try not to have that. In fact, that's always been my goal. From one Ramadan to the next, when people are like, mashallah, it was a great Ramadan, Ustad, you did A, B, C, and D. You completed it with us, mashallah. And my goal is like, okay, from this Ramadan to next Ramadan, I'm trying not to get too different between a public's perspective and my own perspective privately. I'm trying to bring it closer to oneself. So, what I'm trying to say here is that sometimes when we are paying attention to a worship, to an ibadat in Islam, it tends to get boring and drowning. When it was supposed to be a recharge. Jummah is a weekly recharge for your battery, for your iman battery for the next week. Because Ramadan is a recharge as a whole. It's a tune-up. It's an upgrade level of the model. Every year, here's a new one. New iPhones. This is a new one so that you can use it better. Right? But it's still a recharge of some kind. It's still an upgrade of some kind. But to be honest, we don't recharge our phone once a week. We don't recharge our phones once a year. We do it every day. Like, oh, right now, okay, my phone is about to die. I go recharge it. That's what the 5 salat function is supposed to be, to kind of realign us back that the worship of Allah doesn't take the back end. Just because salat is over, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't pay attention about Allah. But I don't use it like that. I use salat for fajr, like mashallah, when I'm going to masjid, alhamdulillah, I feel motivated, ready to go for the rest of the day. But at dhuhr, asr, it's okay. Masjid, I'm not even sure if masjid's open or not. Maghrib and Isha, it depends. So if I'm leading, if I'm doing something, I'll come through. But then somehow, slowly, it doesn't turn into that. In my head, one day in weekends, I'm going to be in salah. But it doesn't turn that way. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to go hang out with my family. Let's go all 7 of us, everybody get together. Let's make jama'ah. And that process is so difficult because I have 3 boys with different age groups and needs. Like, Dad, I already prayed. I got to go this. I got to do that. So no, we're going to pray at least one together as a jama'ah, as a family. Once a day. Like, wow, now you're going to pray like half an hour. It takes too long. All right, fine, I'm just doing quick. You lead. Like, you go. And then we try to make it happen. But all of that is to say, our battery is never 100%. Our iman is never truly 100%. Now bring it back when a ritual didn't exist yet. When salat is still being prescribed, Ramadan is still being prescribed, Al-Fatiha just got sent down, and the ayat of the Quran hasn't really been sent out as much. But when it did come through, it changes the perspective. They have to get your attention. Because for a long time, spirituality doesn't link to an actual worship of the body, right? We have the concept like, let me just bring it back. The name of the father of Muhammad ﷺ is Abdullah. So Abdullah, i.e., the word Allah is understood even min qabl Muhammad. Abdullah exists. When people ask man Rabbuk, they know it's Allah. The issue is not the Rabb, the issue is Ilah. We're not talking about tawheed class because it shouldn't. I'm talking about just a concept of Rabb and Ilah was different. In the time of the Quraysh, they understood who Allah is. Allah is Rabb. Allah is the one who creates. Allah is the guardian. Allah is the one who make everything. Allah is the one who create all of us. But then when they ask, okay, then who do you worship? Who do you ask for help? Who do you return? Who do you rely on? The Ilah part? Oh, it's Lata Uzza. Who's the Ilah? Oh, other beings. So that there's a discrepancy between who Allah is. Then Tawheed comes along to kind of put oneness of it. Ahad, okay, no, it's actually the same thing. Rabb and Ilah is the same thing. That's why when we speak about Islam, we say, La ilaha illallah. It's La ilaha Rabb illallah. Because our people understood Rabb is Allah. Even today, we talk about the Creator. Allah is the Creator. But who's your Ilah? Isa. Jesus, my King. Or actually, I don't believe in it. I'm agnostic, but I'm creators. Stuff like that, right? The issue is the Ilah. And now I argue the issue of our heart is not worship. It's not ibadah. Our issue is when outside of worship. In salat, we know that our Rabb is right here. Rabbana, ihdina, siratal mustaqim. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana. Rabbana, faqina adhabannar. We know, we can say all of this. And we can be all in one row. We can all face Kaaba together. We can be from different sides and walks in life. And we understood differences between somebody who just want to shoulder to shoulder and want to shoulder and feet. The one who say Amin out loud. We understood that and we're okay with all that. As soon as Salat's over, something's changed. Alhamdulillah, we don't have this problem here. MashaAllah, the shoes always taken care of. But most of the time, the shoes in the parking space, also MashaAllah, the parking is good here too. But most of the time, Jummah, Eid, whatever it is, the hardest part is usually the volunteer, not the imams who are speaking, because they have to navigate between kindness to the community to come on, man, we've been here for 20 years, and you're still doing this? You're still creating inconvenience to the neighbors in the space, and you don't know how to put yourself in the row outside of Salat? You can't put the saf properly for the masjid? When it comes to parkings and shoes? It's difficult conversation. And forget about that. When we have differences, We can mashallah too, like this one madhab we can say mashallah, you can say Ameen out loud, the other one say okay, Bismillah out loud, and the one who's not, we can understood that. We can understood different concept of the madhab, but then as soon as it's different, outside of salat, it's different. It's like, if you don't see me or you don't meet me in the spaces in masjids, where I'm walking around with my democratic civilian clothes, the first conversation people have, like, where do I see you? Where have I seen you? Oh, okay, where are you from again? Oh, you're Muslim, right? And the conversation is immediately toward my identity, because they couldn't place it that we are brothers of La ilaha illallah. And that's a difficult concept for Indonesians like myself, because like actually we are a lot. You just don't see us. You don't see a lot of Indonesians in your community, maybe. But we are a lot. And it's very strange that that's a conversation we have. Until, mashallah, until you know me, then the conversation gets weird. Where we put me into a pedestal, mashallah, and it's like, wait. Just want a normal interaction. We met here by accident. Assalamu alaikum, we just met at Costco. It's all good. It doesn't have to be. Walaikum salam. You know Muslim? Where do I know you from? It's a strange mindset that somehow the only place that I have to be fully present with Allah, to be fully in charge of my deen and iman and Islam, is within the ibadah. Outside of it, I'm not taking anything from it. We're not taking the disciplines of salat, the changes of the day, the being flexibility and scaling between the different, like, okay, how are we going to make this work? Organization skills of Jama'ah. We don't have that, because oftentimes, when we go back and look back how the Muslim community is run by one or two volunteers that are eventually burning out. Like 1 or 2, 3, and then like, you know, or like if this is an Islamic project, or we're waiting for donation, things like that, and then like, all right, we're doing a meeting, we're pretty sure it's going to be late. We're not creating the excellence of ihsan, of salat, in other things that we do when it's like a Muslim affair. I noticed it because this past week I had to do a lot of strategic consultation work, and as soon as this Islamic stuff, like I knew it's not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I have to tell my family, like, yeah, okay, well, you guys have to go pick up the kids yourself, because I know that they're not even gonna start until A, B, C, and D. But what did you say? Something? It just doesn't work that way. But you weren't like that yesterday. I know yesterday was a non-Muslim non-profits. It's just how it is. Why? And I argue it's because we don't understand that the Quran have a different tools to get your attention. One of that intention, and one of its intentionality, is that when Quran speak about an affair, it doesn't just immediately say, hey, you worship Allah. Hey, you have taqwa of Allah. The surah, the beginning of the surah is almost like an art form of an introduction to how a person enter. Sometimes it goes with just one letters. Sometimes it goes with, seems to be nonsensical letters. Sometimes it says some things like an oath. And this is where I want to talk about. An oath, a jawab, al-qasam wa jawab al-qasam, is one of the most powerful tools in the Quran to get your attention. It's like what I'm trying to do all this time is to get your attention of what we're currently facing, right? In the Quran, when the prophets speak to the Quraysh, it was with a simple qasam. A qasam of wal fajr wal ayalin ashr, wa shafi wal watr, wa duha wal layli idha saja. Ma wadaka rabbuka wa ma qala. What I'm trying to say is the qasam, it's used as an intelligent bridge of introduction of what's going on. For example, duha and walayl idha saja is what I describe this half of the khutbah. Duha is the moment that we completely don't forget. Most of us are not praying salat to duha. If you're working, if you're busy, if you're active in the society, most of the time, during those times, you're out working or taking care of your risk. Most of the time. And if you're not working, then that's probably you fall asleep and you just wake up and try to catch up fajr. Either way, it's not duha. And in walayli idha saja is when the night finally sits still, is that peak point of qiyam, of when we do witr and when Ramadan, and maybe in Ramadan, but that's definitely not the rest of the year. Not as communal. Maybe individual, yes. So Allah said, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Allah has not forgotten you, nor is He ever forsaken you. I.e., we have, at duha, we don't remember Allah. At layl, we don't remember Allah. Either we're busy or we're sleeping. Either way, We're not out here saying Alhamdulillah or istighfar. That's not the space. Allah could have chose Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, but Allah chooses things that's like extreme, that is equalizer for all. But that's not the point. The point is the oath is to pay attention. And then the answer of the oath is like Allah remembers you anyway. At duha, you still got your rizq anyway. And then when you miss the night when it sits still and you don't remember Allah, Allah still wake you up anyway. So that's the function of the oath. Another simpler oath that we know is wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. By the time mankind is losing. We know that to be true all the time, because like, okay, I gotta go. I have to be somewhere else. Oh, mashallah, I get to see you. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, I got busy. Right? We understood that concept. But the way it played out, it doesn't play out like we are using it today. When we grab the book in the Quran, we read the last, when the ayat of Asr and Duha. Guys, move forward so we can have more space. Mashallah, there's more brothers coming through. When we are talking about that, we just say, okay, mashallah, we just read it and move on. And sometimes we read it so fast, well, and then we're just done. But back then, this was a lifeline that create people like Bilal who say ahadun ahad. They understood that the oath have meaning and purpose. Why? Because right after the oath, there's a jawabul qasam. There is a reason of this oath. It's like I'm suddenly saying, everybody come move forward. And everybody move forward, and everybody got space. Okay, pay attention to me. And everybody, okay, ready? And I just walk off. That's weird. It's like you paying attention to the oath without the answer of the oath is like that. The answer of the oath is the message. When people say washams wal qamar, it's talking about there's a message. There's a message, and when you pay attention to that aspect, it's really interesting that we gloss over the 30th juz often. When it's supposed to be a recharge, like, hey, look around you. Look around you and how Allah speak to you. It is such a powerful tool. That's why, to me, we need not, the tawheed is not to be debated. Tawheed is to be implemented. Tawheed in its form is like oneness of bringing everything come to Allah. Just like we talk about ilah and Rabb, we try to combine it back to Allah. Same thing here, the ibadah, the worships that we do, whether it's an actual rituals that we do or of worshiping Allah by putting, intentionality toward Allah when we're working, living normal life, that needs to be united. You need to bring it back together into one. So then we are not people who worship Ramadan or Salat or Quran, Hifz, and whoever lead. Like, we are not having this discrepancy of like suddenly become super humble toward people who memorize Quran when they are 4, 5, 6-year-old children, and like, okay, and then like, go lead Salat, and then treat them as if they don't need to be taught life lessons. It happens to me growing up. I am in my teenager years, people comes to me asking about marital problems when I am a teenager. It should not be the case. I was able to lead Salat, I was able to privilege all that, but it does, and I can talk about the Quran, but I don't know life yet. In my 40s now, and I notice the same trait still in masajid. When we lean on people who memorize Quran, or to also be a doctor, an engineer, and somebody who can be in management, who can also taking care of business plan, like it somehow they don't, it's like as if we, or the opposite, somebody who's like new to Islam, somehow they have no value. A person accept Islam or somebody who doesn't look Muslim or nothing is like, oh, okay, well, you got to be over here. Did you understand who Allah is, the tawheed? And then we treat them as if they're not people of intellect. That discrepancy needs to turn away into one of respect, of love. Tawheed is not just a concept in the sky. It's bringing oneness to the idea that Allah is the one for me. So therefore, people who chose Allah is my people. And we are one. We gotta come to that space. And we talk about Quran. And then when we do that, the recharge will transform. Not just from one Jummah to the next, not just from one Salat to the next, but we transform when we meet one another because we feel that there's like, you're right, Allah. People who chose Allah to be their Rabb and their Ilah, it's actually living a life of manners that is just beautiful, that I cannot wait to just hang out with everybody again. We got to come to that space. One of the my last moment that I want to say is that 6 years ago, when COVID happened, when all the masajids activities suddenly stopped for me, I didn't know what to do. And I was like, what am I doing? And then that's when my wife's like, well, Ramadan's still Ramadan, isn't it? Like, yeah, like, you go lead with us. Yeah, but it's not the same. It's like, wait, were you leading all this time just for what? It's like, well, for Allah. Okay, then let's do it. Yeah, but it's harder to do it. Like, okay, but let's just start. Why is it your ihsan and your best self is outside and not home? And that changes my framework. Been married with this, I have 15-year-old boy with this lady. But then in my mind, like, I thought I was doing good. Then my wife have to be the one saying, like, why is it your best version is never at home? And that changes my mindset, and I switched my life in those 6 years. And now a lot of people in my colleagues like, wait, why are you not speaking out in here anymore? Why are you not doing that? What's happening? Why are you going home and taking care of why are you letting your wife go doing this? And like, why are you with the kids? It's like, why not? Like, what's happening to our life that we turn this into performative? And I'm just like, I want my family to inherit me, to be my legacy. Of course I'm going to do different. And then I'm going to bring them along. And then when I change my mindset slowly, I'm back here again, even against my will. I'm back in khutbahs again. I'm good leadings again. But this time with precision. I'm not just doing it like because there's a need. When it's quiet, when it's like when there's a need to step up, then I step up. And I come back. But my call is like, yeah, my brothers, we gotta unite this weird dichotomy that we have. We can't continuously pretending that this segregated way of doing things and the people knows you differently is good. We gotta bring it to a whole. We gotta be proud of who we are. Let's bring it to that. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Make dua for the sitting between the two standings accepted. Bismillahi wa kafa. Wa salamun ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Mustafa. Rabbi sarah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. If you guys can just move forward a little bit more, like a couple brothers standing, I just want them to kind of just have a little bit relaxed and sakina before we go back up. I have five more minutes, inshallah. Just move forward a little bit. May Allah open spaces for you in Jannah. May we all have space as wide as we can in the space that we are. I was asked to make dua for a baby who's struggling for their life, that they were just recently born. We ask Allah to give haya, to give ease, so that they can come back home safely. We ask Allah to open doors for all the people that struggles around the world, for all the children, our families, and all the people that's struggling to live, to have their life. May they can be given breath of life, whether that's life of physical health, spiritual health, all of the health, the holistic sum of a person, that they can live a life of a well life. There's a hadith of a story that Allah sent two things toward every human being, and then they will always reach that person. One is rizq and the other one is maut. One is provision and the other one is death. Provision will be sent first, and provision reach the person first. And then when provision's done, then maut and then death will take its place. It's almost like in my head, almost like it's like as if like the everyday death is saying, "Are you done yet, rizq?" No, not yet. They still need more rizq. Okay, what now? What about now? Every day. It's like, and then eventually it's okay, like I'm done. And then maut will come. Okay then. That's what in my image it feels like that. Because it's like chase and running. And because of that, it's important, because of risk, and I felt like about life, it's important. I wanna bring it home with an action item. The action item is simple. And I kind of bring it to now because we've been watching the World Cups, right? Just a very quick thing. And just imagine it. There are people, like younger audience, who enter the World Cup for the first time, like Lamine Yamal's and the rest of them. Like they're coming in saying like, "Oh, this is my first World Cup. This is amazing." Or other countries that's like Algeria, Bosnia, like the one who's not really as great. They're not really thinking about winning. They're just thinking like, they just go through the next match. Let's go through the next match. Like, let's see what's gonna happen. They just keep going. Cape Verde, like, we're just gonna try to make 0-0s, and that's it. That's all we're gonna do. Just one step at a time. That's in essence, if we're doing Islam, Iman, and Ihsan, Islam is that. Just taking care of the next thing. The next Salat, the next Ramadan, the next time. It's okay, we're just gonna keep going. That's the bare minimum. But if you reach a different level, where it's more like, no, like, or maybe like the U.S. It was like, we won. Like, no, we're gonna win the whole thing somehow. Suddenly, we just need to be the winner. Like, there are people who come into the World Cup that they want to win the whole thing. They want to do more, and that's the faith of Iman, where you see them. It's like, what are you doing today? Oh man, I'm going khutbah here, and I'm gonna go this. I'm gonna do this halakha, and I'm gonna study this. I'm gonna go to Egypt. I'm gonna go to Medina. I'm gonna memorize Quran, and I'm active here in the Islamic community. Guys, let's go to the food pantries. We're gonna go feed the needy. Like, you just see them busy all the time. Right? That's a little. And then when you see a group of people who just doing so much more of the deen, some people feel like, okay, I want to follow that. But most of us kind of like, that's annoying. Like, I just want to make salat. Like, here you are just like, what do you mean? Salat 5 times a day is not enough. 5 times in masjid? That's harder. No, don't get discouraged with that. Don't get discouraged, because ihsan means that you understand both. You understand someone who comes in for the first time in the World Cup games, and this is exciting. I just want to enjoy the moment. And you understand people who want to implement legacy, like Ronaldo and Messi. It's like, I want to, like, I want to have a legacy patch. I can do all the way through it. I understood that. Ihsan means understanding that there's different form of a believer and Muslims, and sometimes people go ups and down. That's also another thing that we need to unify ourselves into. Have a real conversation that can bring you to life fully. Don't rely on just the Jummah. Don't just rely on salats and your people. Can be like, rely on the things that Allah has given us as a tool. Imagine as a pit stop. Pit stop, charge your phone, or charge your electric car, charge it. But then after that, the journey is ours. And it's easier journey when you do it together. Right? Boys trips, brothers trips, camping trips, family trips. It's funner when it's just alone, sad by yourself, trying to stay awake, listening to country music. That's sad. Like, but as a family, like, it's harder. It's longer. People have to stop for a little bit, a break. We have to eat here. That's what it looks like as a community. I really wish that we can implement this idea that seems segmented into oneness of one whole. So when we talk about tawheed, we're not arguing whether, what are you talking about? What kind of tawheed do you have? What kind of madhab do you have? And we argue over that. Like, okay, the Iranians are Muslim. The Iraqi, they're not Muslim. Like, this is not Muslim. Do you worship like this? Not Muslim. No, man. The bombs and genocide doesn't care what ID card we have. We all just looks like enemies. We gotta come back to unite in this concept all the way through, to the ritual, to outside, to the house, to the in-house, house and outside, and everything else in between. We got to. It's time. It's an urgency. We ask Allah to make us among the people who believe that Allah is one, that we are able to live a life with La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. We ask Allah to make us among the people who become a holistic human being. We ask Allah to make us among the people who love the Quran and learn from the Quran and become the walking Quran in its true essence. We ask Allah to become among the people that become Abdur Rahman, that we can have the mercy of Ar-Rahman and able to move with Rahmah, that the people see us with Rahmah and we're around the people that we are filled with Rahmah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clarify all these conflicting ideas in our mind, to turn it into light, so away from darknesses toward light. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ يَرْحَمُكُمُ اللَّهُ